the cartoon shooter. He's going to bring in some cool new executes.
Well, hopefully that's going to be the case for Big, because this is a tough matchup, I would say, for them, Jim. But see what they can do on Ancient. It is home ground territory for NiP, though, and they'll be starting off on the T side. The odds, though, are actually pretty 50-50 there by the looks of things, which is quite interesting. But anyway, we'll get past that and see how close this matchup does actually end up being.
Well, Plopski's favourite player is about to be tested here on the A-bomb site. They're all just going to filter in towards A and faveN.
Oh. Well, there's a reason that Plopski's so excited about this guy. A double kill, 2 taps to the heads already for faveN, and he might just find a little more. Really controlling the bomb site. Opens up the door for Tizian to swing in. And while he does lose his life, he's the only player to drop for Big in the round, and an excellent start on the pistol for the German squad.
I think he's passed the eye test in the pistol round. So as far as Big are concerned, just the aggression from NiP didn't really seem to be too much of an issue. They definitely had the favourite, I guess, the power in numbers towards B, or towards A, sorry. Starting to operate on that level of delirium that Plopski normally does.
Oh, won't be long before we're all there. No investment from NiP, but just a single flashbang there for syrsoN.
Oh, they're just going to be pushed back by this utility. Big are taking positions, and they haven't even made it through those doors yet. So yeah, it's going to be just some investigating going on. Krimbo just checking all the corners, and in NiP, they're just biding their time here. Really don't have anything to work with in this round. Single flash, pop over the doors, might be enough to catch a player or two out. They get on to B here and get a bomb plant. That would be the best possible case scenario for NiP.
Yeah, I mean, would have liked to have seen an upgraded pistol here or there for NiP, though. If that was going to end up being a reality, I think your chances of getting rid of one player with the Glocks is reasonable off of this flash, but I don't know that they'll be able to get into the bomb site unless they find some really crisp timing or some seriously good shots. Krimbo's in such a great spot as well to catch out syrsoN for free that ultimately, yeah, it is going to come down to tabseN, but now this is where it sort of has to be cleaned up pretty comfortably by Big, and that's what you expect to see on a round like that. You might see one player drop, but the sign of a good team in Big is that they're able to clean that up without losing any more than that and not let it sort of run away with things. So very good stuff from Big on the anti-eco, losing only the one player. You'll definitely take that. But NiP now, this is their chance to flex their muscles.
Yeah, this is their chance now. Gun round coming out, so hopefully they manage to isolate some of these MP9s that Big still have in their possession. But I'm looking for that AWP on syrsoN to really do the damage here for Big. Don't know if NiP are going to be prepared for that. They haven't seen it just yet.
It's an early AWP to pull out. MP9 being held on by Krimbo. syrsoN already straight into the AWP. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, a party mix as far as the buy is concerned for Big, isn't it? They've got some really impactful weapons, and then they've got a couple of MP9s.
Contact on A long though. That seems to be the name of the game here for NiP. And they're just going to be able to get into this A-bomb side, I would say, essentially even just by shutting out both CT players who have now pushed all the way into Donut. They might be totally unaware here.
Oh. Excellent entry by Rez, but he wasn't expecting the double stack in toward Donut, and faveN is able to trade it down. That said, it is going to give control of the bomb site to NiP. Smokes are going in. They should be able to get the plant down pretty quickly afterward. So 4-on-4 for the post plant. You've got NiP just milling around the bomb site, looking for positions to play post plant. But the real talking point for me here is going to be Brollan. He's coming in through mid. He'll be able to be that backstab through Donut. And in the clutch scenario, if necessary, not the worst of places to play from. ZTR goes down early on in the piece, and Plopski can only manage to grab one. And then it'll actually be syrsoN, and the bomb's not ideally planted for him. Big get themselves another round on the board, and a very nicely secured retake in the end.
Off to a great start. This is such good patient play on the CT side from Big. We're expecting them to have, you know, a few things up their sleeve, but in all honesty, it was that cool, calm presence under pressure. We thought maybe there, after that frag from Rez, they were able to break their way into this A-bomb site. It would be difficult, particularly if they took aggressive positioning up. That would be difficult for Big to forge their way back into the round. Not to be the case, though, and they I think it would be safe to say that Big are starting to put some good rounds here together. They've really just started to reel in that economy of NiP, but they're going to just force here by the look of it.
I mean, that's the perfect start for Big, isn't it? You go into that round with a couple of MP9s, and then you walk out of it with a couple of AKs. And,
Yeah.
I mean, tabseN, yeah, he's got to reinvest, but the rest of the guys are feeling pretty good about how things have played out there. And so 3-0 the scoreline for Big. They don't lose a whole lot off of that round, and obviously they pick up the round victory, and it leaves them in a very strong economic position. NiP, can't really say the same about them, and the fact that they've bought into this round hopefully means they're going to show some fireworks, but a Khalil and then some Tech 9s behind it and a Deagle to work with. It's certainly not, you know, what you'd want in your ideal world.
Yeah, they want to be the ones in that position now to trade up. You know, minimum expenditure. But tabseN needs to be careful not to be caught out here. He's got that M4 and he's doing some probing of his own. Molotov's just going to push back the wave of players, and that's going to allow them to be at safe striking distance. But it's a good trade, though, so it's off to a good start here from NiP.
Well, he would have heard that tick of the Molotov, and that's why he decided to go for that swing. But as you say, a 1-for-1, that's not entirely too bad for NiP. tsyrsON, however, might just put that one to bed. Going to get that smoke down into mid just to make himself feel a little more comfortable. End of the day, though, I think the job is done. NiP now are down on numbers, down on map control, have to recollect the bomb, and they've only got 40 seconds to work their way toward A, which is a long way away, particularly for that bomb carrier, and it's going to take a long time to get there.
Yeah, that smoke from Tag was just hoping to keep players positioned towards B, but now I think the jig is up. That bomb is still yet to get into the tunnel, so there's a lot of work to be done here by NiP if they're trying to secure themselves in a post-plant position. tsyrsON's going to be a real threat for them.
syrsoN was able to get one, but tsyrsON not able to do too much past that. 8 seconds left on the clock, and it doesn't look like they're getting in that bomb site any day of the week. Big 4-0. Starting to really look a bit threatening on this CT side. NiP will be able to get the buy through again. But I got to say, I'm impressed with what Big has been able to bring to the table.
Rolling on. And it's important for that CT side to maintain momentum as the loss bonus starts to accrue for NiP. So just a quick tactical timeout from Big, despite the fact that they haven't really been in any pressure situations as far as one would say tactically. They still take that timeout.
Best thing about this start for Big is that they have barely died. You know, there's 0 deaths on both Krimbo and syrsoN, and in particular for syrsoN, that's really nice with the AWP in play. Being able to save up a lot of cash. So 6 deaths only in 4 rounds for Big. It's not a huge number.
You look at the side of NiP, really haven't put numbers on the board just yet in terms of those frags. One of those players, Brollan, we look at him as one of an impact player. Hasn't had an impact just yet, so Big have done a good job of keeping him at bay. However, AK's in the hands of NiP. They just have to wait out that first wave of utility. However, Brollan says no to that and will take control of lane weight. It's a tense standoff there in mid.
Well, starting to take some map control now as Brollan is exploring Cheetah. tabseN close on the corner, looks to have found the timing nicely. It will end up only being a 1-for-1. That's syrsoN. Quick flick with the AWP, and Big just don't seem to be putting a foot wrong at the moment, do they? Everywhere NiP tries to look, it turns to dust. Plopski's got himself into a nice advanced position. But as long as Big doesn't give him an opening, I don't know that he's going to be able to get a whole lot done from there.
Now it's going to be on Tag. Try and cause a distraction. He actually pulls Krimbo out of his hidey hole. tsyrsON with that flash support is not going to find himself effective. And, well, NiP have done a great job of getting themselves in, wrestling back control of the numbers, and the bomb plant goes down.
Nice fuel usage making the difference there for NiP. Rez will execute faveN. And does the same to syrsoN. So that's the first round on the board for NiP. It's not too little too late, certainly. It sort of felt like it was getting a little problematic for them, but now that they've been able to peg Big back a step or two, now force the reinvestment, they can start to think about putting together their own game as opposed to really worrying about what Big is doing.
Just these flashes coming through from NiP were perfect as well. You thought maybe they're Big on those counter utility plays and those pushes could have got the work done, but NiP were just dug in. It's a great round from syrsoN and Rez to really just wrestle things back in their favour. syrsoN though, on that AWP, bit of a hero play. Why not? Up until last round, hadn't really taken any damage and took his first death. So,
well, that's the luxury that you can provide yourself without losing too much of your economy. And it looks like it might pay off. syrsoN already opening the account. syrsoN in the bank. How many more is he going to be able to find in this round? That's the perfect start to a round like this for Big. And it's got to leave NiP shaking in their boots a little bit.
They just had to back off. They've had to give control of a backup. And they're rotating all the way back through T-spawn. They don't have control of mid, so just going to chew up some time. They flash into the cave.
Oh, scary for Brollan, but he survives. Dodges the first AWP shot, flashing himself out back onto the line. And that'll be enough to send syrsoN packing back through the smoke. Even still, though, problems abound for NiP. As the P250 strikes and back into a 3-on-3. syrsoN coming up huge in the round. A shot through the smoke, denies the bomb plant. A little leg hanging out was a little too much for NiP, and now they are up the creek without a paddle. tabseN will find the timing onto Rez. It's just Brollan. He lines up two, gets them both. But he still has to deal with the danger man of syrsoN, who's holding on to an AWP. And Brollan inside the smoke, takes the peek, doesn't find the execution. And it's really sweaty palms at the moment for both of these players. syrsoN, a full 10-second defuse, surely not going to be possible. Finds a shot onto Brollan, but misses it, goes for another, and the round is lost. But Big, they made it so damn close.
That hero AWP was very nearly what got them out of that, but it was just those P250s just swarming onto the site, making an absolute mockery of NiP, and I think if it wasn't for the heroics of Brollan there, that could have been a real pickle they were in. That shot there onto the bomb planter lined up with that totem pole, but Brollan, some heroics that really pull NiP out of the fire, figuratively and literally. So we do have the gun round coming out now from Big. They've shown some good signs early on, even in that round, making it quite expensive for NiP.
It might get a little more expensive. tabseN, I'm not sure how he's managed to get two there. NiP stunned, maybe. Weren't able to find the trade quickly enough, and we're back to another 3-on-3. I mean, NiP, they might be putting rounds together, but they're not doing it easily.
No. But look at this play from Big. They've gone too aggressive early on, then too anchored in the site. They're almost willing NiP to go towards B, and that's exactly what the trap's been set.
Plopski's found the timing there as well onto syrsoN. That was something filthy. Krimbo will try and do the same, but Plopski just a bit too good. He was the half HP player as well, Jim. So it leaves faveN in a pretty unreasonable scenario. You can't expect too much from him here with a FAMAS. Not able to deny the bomb plant, which means the odds swing even further in the favor of NiP.
He's got a lot of utility to wait out now. Still 2 flashes left. He does have a smoke, does have a molly. So he might still fancy himself here, but I don't know. That was a strange round for me as Plopski finishes the deal. Strange round given that NiP were almost lured into that B bomb site. Big didn't really seem to expect such aggression through cave though. They had nobody watching it.
I think it was just a really nice timing from Plopski. syrsoN maybe having a bit of a look down into lane at that point and took his eyes off a cave, and that'll be that. Time for an eco from Big. The bigger they are, the harder they fall, unfortunately, and Big they were off to a banger of a start. They were up 4-0. They had 7K on a couple of the members, and It looked like this was their half to lose, but NiP, they've really worked hard to grind their way back in, and that's a quick flick from Brollan. It'll work out nicely. NiP are starting to take control of this half now.
It's a big swing from the pendulum, isn't it? They've really felt the sting, Big, and now NiP just going to use all that utility to try and keep Big at an arm's length away from this site. Flash into... Oh, this is actually going the way of Big. So they've waited out that aggression. They've pulled the rifles in their hands now, and Brollan, again, he's got to try and steady the ship.
No way.
And he does with that spray. Oh, dear.
Well, Big definitely would have thought for a moment that was going to be their chance, but not the case. Brollan steps up large. Saves the day for NiP, but it sort of goes back to what I've been saying already for the first 8 rounds of this map, is that when NiP is getting around on the board, yes, they're getting it, they're winning rounds, but they're not doing it easily.
No, there's always that moment during the round.
Yep. Attack time out here for NiP. Maybe not a bad time for one. It's been a weird game. It doesn't really feel like we're 8 rounds in, but it has been that streak of 4 from Big. Now it's that streak of 4 from NiP. We're going to get another gun round here, and this kind of feels like it can be a bit of a swing round, a bit of a round that sets up the rest of this half.
Yeah, City Economy is really on that... it's just teetering on the edge, right? Like they've fully invested here. There's pretty much dribs and drabs left in terms of the economy. Only tabseN's got something relatively healthy, but they're going to have to fight tooth and nail now, Big, after getting off to a good start. They've allowed NiP back into this 4 unanswered rounds. Their economy's building themselves.
Contest into mid this time from Big. Maybe they want to pick the pace up a little. Brollan looks to have sniffed it out, though. Creeping his way forward. And tabseN holds strong. This is scary times for both of these players.
Yeah.
It could be really just a case of off timing for one or the other, and that's it, done and dusted. tabseN gives the game up with a bit of util tossed over the box, and well, Brollan half mollies himself, but he's found the opener, and that's the important point.
Just hits the wrong piece of wood. That actually could have been a real troublesome molly too, because that could have potentially...
It would have isolated the player in Cheetah, yeah.
Would have allowed another duel to potentially go the way of NiP, and that just... Big don't seem to be dealing too well with the aggression from NiP, particularly towards Cheetah, particularly towards Cave. tabseN hasn't had a lot of success yet.
faveN though, 9 and 5. He's been a ray of sunlight for Big. Not able to land too many shots in that duel around Donut. NiP just pumping the brakes for a moment, but they've only got 34 seconds left in this round. Enough util to get into the B bomb site. Smoke's going to go towards the right side. And NiP will start to work their way up as well. They have to hope nothing goes wrong, and there's a bit of a stack over on this side of the map from Big. 2 players there, with one being a fast rotator as well, denying the bomb plant. That's a huge deal. syrsoN dies to the molly, and it's all gone wrong. That is the reason. Everything needs to go perfectly when you leave the time that late. And NiP, that should have been their round, but a couple of small issues go the wrong way, and then the round's done. You don't have any time to recover. That's why syrsoN has to just charge in there, get the bomb, and try to plant it. But there's a Molotov.
There's a molly. You can't. That's not something you can run through when you've got low HP. But they tried, and you're perfectly on the money there, Jordan. They can't. They don't afford themselves many luxuries when they leave time like that. And so, what looked to be a very good start there from NiP just falls away at the last moment. And so, a faster approach here now. tabseN looking for that spray for the second. However, NiP once again just finding that trade.
No, it's not the worst of starts for NiP. You take a 1-for-1 when you're on the T side most times. But they don't really have a huge amount of util here, Jim. Couple of smokes, couple of mollies. Trying to dig out the angles in Cheetah, which they've once again now taken control of early. Seems to be a real pressure point on the map for NiP that they like to look for.
Set of smokes. Trying to... Oh, okay. That's going to help.
I mean, that's an entry
Better
and
than
a
a
half.
smoke.
But still haven't been able to clear out Cave, which is going to be a problematic area of the map for them to deal with. Plopski turns around and catches Krimbo through the smoke somehow, and it leaves faveN in a 1-on-2. This time, at the very least, he's got an AK, he's got a defuse, he's got time to work with, but he has no idea where the T's are, and Essa tag is waiting for him. Back and forth, that pull and push goes.
Right now, the economy of Big is being pushed to the edge. So they've got some decisions to make in this coming round as to what they do. But as they were setting up those smokes, NiP, Rez just opens up, rips the Band-Aid off on B. And so the dominoes start to fall. tabseN in that round finally started to find some success. However, was eventually overwhelmed. It's been a little quiet by his standards. Back on the pistols now for Big. Brollan, no, looking to farm with that MAC-10. He knows.
He might get the opportunity to farm with that MAC-10 as well. Flash. Rather, I think it was a smoke. It's not going to put him off the line. I only managed to get the one, but end of the day, it's a pretty straightforward round here for NiP. Plopski just going to back up, try and make sure that he doesn't drop the AK over and give any kind of advantage to Big out of this round. They'll be more than happy to lose the MAC-10. That's fine. As long as they don't lose anything else, and that seems like it will end up being the case. Be a pretty straightforward bomb plant now for NiP.
Unopposed at 8. So, Big here. Just trying to save some of that armor, I would suspect, into the next round. That's going to be a probably, to be fair, better value to them than anything else. It might be repositioning, looking for exits, but even right now, they still don't look too interested.
Yeah, I think this is a really good sign for NiP. The fact that on the T side, they're being able to put together some pretty solid rounds, even despite the fact that they're not playing with their core 5. It's sort of similar to what we were discussing around ENCE when we watched them on the T side of Nuke. Really not too shabby. Traditionally, you'd say that CT side might be a little bit easier when you're playing with a substitute.
Theoretically. But I think the early protocols from NiP are actually quite solid. They've just got Brollan. He's just speed running his way up B laneway, just straight in towards Cheetah, trying to put pressure on it early on. He's actually finding some effective frags early on in the piece. He's catching out players like tabseN and tabseN. And it's just forging a path forward for NiP in this round. It's just setting up so nicely with that map control.
Definitely some really good individual performances from both Plopski and Brollan. They're finding a lot of impact frags as well at important times. Waiting to see maybe what Essa tag's going to be able to do with that AWP when they get on the CT side. syrsoN has definitely had his moments. It sort of feels like it slowed down a little bit for Big, right? They were up to a 4-0 start. That 5th round that they did win was a bit of a streaky one. It sort of felt like maybe NiP should have converted it. So, for the most part, I kind of want to say, outside of that initial streak from Big, it's kind of been NiP's map. And there's another example of it. Just, it's the same set of utility getting used to take control of Cheetah time and time again, and it continues to work. syrsoN misses a shot, and now he's in trouble. Has to back his way up into mid, and gets back into Donut safely enough.
Yeah, I dare say I only got away too because Brollan was on 4 HP. Didn't really want to face either, so just allows that momentary window for syrsoN to escape. However, you've got the CT side here. Focus again is towards that B ramp. That's caught them out before. Not that that's going to be a factor because NiP are turning their attention back towards A. So the utility now, I wonder if that's going to be enough to telegraph the rotation through. They're going to send that late lurk in with Brollan. Low HP. Big plays here at B, and that's perfect. That's what they want, NiP.
Yeah, how many times have they been able to find a pick on the timing coming out of cave? Won't be able to get away with the same trick twice. Now it's on to Krimbo and syrsoN to hold on to the A bomb site, and they're doing a pretty good job of it. faveN, I'm sorry, it was faveN. And he finds the timing. Just hidden behind the boxes, NiP. They didn't think to check, and that was ultimately their undoing. 6 apiece.
Brollan did all the hard work, but there was no rotation from Big. They were dead set, anchored on A. I think in that instance too, it would have been a call that just give up on B.
Yeah.
Just keep your players at 8. If they go A, they go A. If they go B, just save. So it ends up winning them the round. It's great work from faveN. syrsoN with that AWP. He's hit some shots. So they certainly have the cylinders firing Big. Just need to stabilize the economy.
Definitely keeping them in the mix. It's really hard to get a great grasp of who is looking a little bit more comfortable on this map, because I want to say for the most part, it looks like NiP has been progressing through a lot of these rounds pretty comfortably. But then a round like that happens and you think, okay, well, I mean, there's definitely been moments for Big, and the scoreline is 6 apiece. So hard to draw a line in the sand between the two teams. Money's starting to become a little bit of a problem for both, though. So we could still see this half balloon out to a 9-6 scoreline, depending on who wins this round and how they win this round.
Yeah, I mean, if NiP put their foot down here, Big could be in some trouble economically. They'll limp into this half with some questionable buys, but as far as NiP are concerned, oh, that's not going to help. syrsoN goes down early. That's the bomb controlled. Krimbo as well. They've done a good job early on, Big. They finally had some duels go their way early on.
They changed things up a little bit as well. syrsoN hasn't been on this B bomb site for the majority of the CT side, and they put the AWP over there, and he is able to have an impact. Sort of feels at the moment like if there's anyone in the crosshair of syrsoN, they're going to be a dead man. 2 on 5. This would be a huge one to win for Big if they can keep all of these guns alive. CTR, an awkward duel for him, but he'll win it against faveN. Probably just be able to find the timing and get out. Busy and on the hunt, but not quick enough.
Still plenty of life left in this round. It's that late flank from tzyzyaN that could be a real factor. It's only so many seconds left in this round. And up here, got to get a wriggle on towards B, so they're using what they got left in terms of utility. It's an effective wall to be able to get that bomb plant down, so just going to bide their time. That's a perfect flash through. Krimbo and tabseN, they provide the fireworks, and that is going to be a round that Big desperately needed, and with numbers surviving as well.
7-6. Starting to look a little problematic now for NiP. Their money is shot. And we talked about the possibility of a 9-6 off of the back of that last round. That's pretty much what Big needed to do. They kept 4 guns alive. As long as they get through this one pretty okay, then they're on the race for 9. And when it comes to a map like Ancient, which is traditionally a fairly CT-sided map, you probably want to be getting to 9. Feels like NiP maybe have hit that pass score. tabseN ensuring this one gets locked down really comfortably indeed.
And the confidence frags. Certainly is needed in this half at faveN. Coming into this roster as the new guy.
Yeah, not sure we'll see too much from syrsoN in this round, but 8-6 scoreline. And this is kind of the teetering point, isn't it? This is going to be the round that really decides how we set up the second half. If NiP can get this one over the line, it's a fairly even scoreline. It sort of feels like maybe NiP have gone just above par slightly. But if Big can do the same, then I think you can probably make that argument that they've just been able to pull ahead just enough on the CT side.
Yeah, I'd say 9-6 on the CT side. That's par for the course.
Yeah, so maybe it feels a little more important for Big to pick up this final round of the half. I mean, you've got to say they did start off with a 4-0 lead, so they could have probably felt like they could get a little bit more done. But I think they've done a really good job of, despite the fact that they struggled in the mid stages of the half, they've been able to pull it back and they've been able to start to take control of it again.
Yeah, you always feel good about the halves too if you're able to get those bookend rounds.
Yeah, good start and a good end.
So important now for Big that they maintain that momentum. They've been able to wrestle away from NiP, but that's not a good start.
No.
Rez is out. No, that's not good at all. They lose too early on, and it's a lot of map control given up to NiP.
tabseN, I wonder if he was up to any funny business there, but ultimately not going to be. Somehow still gets the kill onto ZTR with that molly, though. We're back to a 4-on-3. At the very least, he's been able to find one trade. It makes it look not quite as precarious for Big. And NiP, true to their usual style in the mid-round, have just slowed it down.
I don't need to do too much now. They found the opening picks early on, inside the first 10-15 seconds. And so, now Big, they've got a lot of map to consolidate with only 3 players. So, this is the stage of the round where NiP take their time. They go a little dark, then they hope that Big might fall on their sword a little now. Try and take some risks that they wouldn't necessarily take. They're already players down, so just contact play from here on out for NiP.
Well, that's not how you'd want to be seeing it go if you're NiP. tabseN tries to pick the pace up, goes through the smoke.
No.
P250 comes out and he might just have a chance of getting another one. Krimbo saves the day. And Brollan now in a one-on-one against faveN, who so many times has been in these 1vx clutch situations. This time, just one to find, and he'll secure it for Big. 9-6. It's a big round to win. And of course, Big walks away happy at the end of the half, but NiP, have they done enough? We'll find out after the break.
For me personally, it was always very clear from the beginning that him and me will be at some point like coach and player, obviously. Like we have really good connection, and at some point, you know, you understand that something is missing which you maybe don't get from someone else. And you know he has like really good strength, like in his personality, obviously, understanding of the game, like making someone better, just making someone feel better just to have him around. And that was something which we had missing for me personally. Like for me personally, I don't really had a connection with my coach before, and this was for me something really important to have the same relationship, the same view of the game, the same passion, yeah, exactly. And it was something very important. And yeah, basically he knew that I was a little bit frustrated, or like let's say sad maybe, yeah, in that way, and he felt it a way that it's time maybe to come back as well. He was missing the game, he was always watching the game, talking to me about the game, and at some point, and yeah, and then in that sense, we directly felt like, hey, it's time, you need to come back.
A roller coaster of the first half, and Big walks away with the victory. They started well, it dipped a little bit in the middle, and then it picked up toward the end. 9-6 though. Question is that going to be enough? NiP, they showed some moments of excitement, some moments of brilliance in that first half, and now we'll see what they can bring to bear on the CT side. Dooley's Brollan. He was spotted though and eliminated by faveN. Plopski's going to try much the same, but it's going to result in the exact same ending as well. Tag Rez and ZTR to try and clutch it out now for NiP, and maybe we're picking up where we left off with big domination. Good damage done onto Tag, and I've got to say, this pistol round already looks over.
Yeah, look, unfortunately the Julies, the rootin' and tootin', not enough tootin'.
The quaddies.
Yeah, the quaddies. But wasn't effective at all, and they were overrun.
Wow.
They were outnumbered and outgunned.
Yeah, just a timing issue for NiP there, not being able to get set up inside of Cheetah quickly enough. Big spotted him out, and once they knew they were spotted, they kind of had to take that fight, didn't they? They couldn't just play the corner anymore, and so Big kind of romps the floor with them. And 10-6 the scoreline now. Double digits already for Big, off to a great start in the T side after finding their feet in the first half. It starts to look a bit worrisome for NiP. I think this is a very different storyline than what we were expecting coming into the game, but Big plus God B, obviously looking like a pretty nice change-up.
Yeah, look, they've got that coach, coach connection, finishing each other's sentences.
Yeah.
And, look, I think that's translating to results in game, as we can see here. But, I mean, the job's not done yet,
Definitely not.
Plenty of work to do here for Big.
And this is the first step of many when it comes to IEM Dallas. NiP would be a pretty good scalp to claim as Big, but the job gets harder and more difficult the deeper they go.
All these angles to clear out. Brollan actually makes that pistol sing. Does catch the grenade, though.
syrsoN's going to have a crack in mid as well, and this time he'll be able to catch ZTR. I think it's been a rough run of form for a couple of those NiP players to start the day here in Dallas, but the one that I'm really looking at is probably Tag here in the second half. Obviously, being the AWPer, you want to see him get that AWP in his hands and start to have some impact on this CT side. I think that's going to be a key proponent of the success for NiP if they are able to bring back this deficit. But the first question, of course, is going to be whether or not they can get their economy into a scenario such that they can afford the AWP.
It's always a game of numbers. This time he's not going to work out. syrsoN.
Bit of DM prac.
Very nice.
Aimbots.
It's that 1-2 tap. But, all right. What's going to be on the cards here for NiP? Just rifles all round.
Yeah, no AWP yet.
Not just yet. Big retaining those Galils, so just hoping that they can catch some players here without head armor. It's on the cards.
4 of them don't have the head armor here for NiP, so that Galil is going to be quite potent on tabseN and tiziaN. Faster play out from Big, straight into the laneway. A similar approach from NiP as to what we saw from them on the pistol, trying to get quickly into Cheetah. Just the one-man setup this time with Brollan, but he's playing the same corner. Dumping a bit of that util, maybe giving away his position.
I think the interesting thing too is similarities as well. I wonder if they heard that.
Yeah, they would have.
Even taking some further tick damage as well, Brollan, with that molly, but interesting early phases of the round are quite similar between these two teams. They've just got that player just charging out towards B laneway, just taking control, taking a lot of utility early on. That was faveN doing that, but timing.
Really unfortunate timing for Brollan as he turns away, but tabseN's already found his head, which is going to give Big the numbers advantage. And on this T side, looks like that's going to pay dividends for them. They're still being very stoic in their default positions. You had tiziaN just watching for the push out of A, Krimbo watching for the push in mid, while the rest of the guys were starting to work B a little bit. Now they're only starting to group up. 34 seconds left on the clock, and we've seen how that can go wrong. In the case of NiP's T side, there is also 3 players on the defense here at B.
Contact. That's the name of the game.
Contact goes well. syrsoN finds the opening frag, but they still need to do a little bit more. They still need to get that bomb plant down, and with 3 players still alive, NiP, they're still in with a chance. The smoke fades for syrsoN. I was wondering if he was going to get the second there, and I think the fact that he didn't is what has let that round go through for Big, but it was looking dangerous for a moment.
Yeah. There was a real flashpoint in that round where things could have just been turned on their head. And so, NiP just got to try and save everything they've got, which is not a lot here for ZTR. Or are we in Dallas, Jordan? Do we say ZTR?
Yeah, we say ZTR. ZTR.
ZTR. It's a good round from Big, though. Again, just showing that ability to just scale onto the bomb site and explode. So, NiP back to the drawing board. Economically, they're not quite sound. They've only got that one M4 that was saved over. Gonna have some supporting utility in pistols, though.
Well, it's going to have to happen sooner or later for NiP, and doesn't look like it's going to be this round. I am keen to see what they've cooked up with these 3 grenades. ZTR with a fairly advanced position is going to need to get some work done, but faveN, he's going to look to try and sneak it out. Timing worked out for him. It looked awkward for a second, but ends up getting the double. Maybe a retrievable AK for Brollan, though. And he's got a bit of armor to work with. No head armor, but maybe can still get something done with it, or even just save. Definitely an option. M4 and AK to take through to the next round. It sounds like a pretty good prize. And they would know now that Big is into A. So it's probably going to be the option of choice for NiP. Give them the 13th. Play the long game.
Yeah. It's only really Rez that's sort of hanging around looking for something on that exit side of things. But even then, he's not really pushing for it. He's just sort of sitting super deep, hoping that someone from Big gets so overconfident and over-aggressive. But right now, they'll be happy to take that armor, happy to take some utility into the next round as well. It's not a lot of positive signs, though, other than these 2 guns here for NiP. And Big are just inching themselves closer towards that 16-round mark. So the task only gets more difficult from here on out for NiP.
Yeah, I don't know. I struggle to imagine they can bring this back now. And Big is just looking too well drilled right now on this T side.
Yeah.
And they looked really comfortable on the CT side. Ancient is looking really good for them. Yeah, do you put this down to the substitute factor for NiP, or do you say, well, Big is coming into this tournament to play? I think you probably could take into account both of those factors.
Yeah, I'd say it's all a factor. A lot of factors right now that aren't stacking up in NiP's favour. And
no.
One of those right now is the number of rounds they have on the board. They're going to change it up, though. Going to go into this with the double AWP, Rez and syrsoN. So hopefully have a bit more impact. They've been, I mean, syrsoN particularly has been quite quiet in this matchup so far. Hasn't been a real impact like you want to see from a player of his caliber. Early utility. Gives NiP some positioning here. They're just dumping it all on that B laneway. Early control there, but Big happy to just walk through the A halls. They should be able to actually get onto this A bomb site for free if they can find the timing, as NiP desperately make those rotations back towards the site.
Well, not a bad angle to be holding for Rez, but he's going to have to hit his shots. He's the only player here on A, and he's forced off of already. It is the 1-for-1. Got the shot through the flash, but end of the day, that's not going to be enough to hold on to the bomb site. That said, the bomb's kind of been left to nobody.
Yeah.
And
Somebody. Big
eventually will get the bomb plant down. But NiP have been given a bit of extra time to reset themselves, get ready for this retake. tiziaN a little bit too late to try to jump up, will be caught. syrsoN having an impact in this round with the AWP, though. That's 3 already. And he starts to set himself up maybe for a magical ace. NiP, I don't know if they're going to even give him that chance. They will back away and say, that's enough. Not going to let syrsoN do any more fishing. And it'll be another round one for Big. So 14 on the board. And I got to say, it just doesn't look like they're going to lose from here.
Yeah, it's looking improbable. I'll put it that way. Once they got control of Temple, though, they look very hard to beat in the post-plant positioning, Big. So syrsoN making that his own. And they are looking very large and in charge. Rez does well to get one. Completely flashed off the line, but syrsoN, that just allows him an avenue to pick straight into CT spawn. He's doing some work, isn't he, syrsoN? Really finding a lot of impact with that orb.
Very impressive game from him so far, and to be fair, kind of across the board, you're seeing really good stuff from Big. The only one not really fragging is tzyzyaN, but it's kind of unrequired at this point. Krimbo does go down, and so does tabseN. So NiP, they might have threaded the needle a little bit in this round, found their timings, found their angles, and almost shut the round down before it's begun. Just a bit of awkward play around that smoke, and it hasn't worked out for Big.
It's been a while between rounds there for NiP, so if anything, this would be a welcome change for them. Very deep lines being held by NiP right now, so some of this utility would allow Big to get themselves onto this bomb site. I don't have the smokes, though, to block the vision. So it's just going to be on the back of those flashes to try and get them unsettled. The Molotovs get them out of position.
Can't lose this one. Cannot lose this one as NiP. It's got to be hook, line, and sinker, and Plopski doing a good job of setting it up that way. syrsoN, even still in what is a horrific round, a losing round, is still managing to chime in with some damage. There was some real chances for more. He's actually gotten 2 kills. That could have been 3, Jim.
Yeah.
But he's keeping NiP honest, isn't he? That round, it felt like nothing was going to go right for Big, and yet still they get 2 frags out of it. So it still keeps NiP wondering and worrying and concerned a little bit about that money. syrsoN straight back in onto the AWP as well. Why not?
It's also keeping a lot of the deaths quite high for NiP. So it's you know, having an impact on the economy. Super expensive for that CT side. Have to buy it back in. But it's also denting the confidence for a lot of these NiP players, I would suggest too. But that's a great pick from syrsoN.
Man doesn't stop.
He's just well, I mean, to be fair, CTR was straight in, skates on. Ooh. faveN to find another.
He's gone for the jump peek. See if he can get the 1 beat.
The audacity.
This isn't Dust 2, mate. Oh, that's a tag. Does just keep his head tucked down long enough to survive. And that's kind of what it feels like NiP is trying to do at the moment. They're just trying to survive. It's a constant onslaught from Big. And now it's going to be an onslaught of util as well, headed into that B bomb site. A couple of smokes, a bunch of flashes to follow, but they've actually gone out mid. It's a fake, it's not a B take. And maybe NiP have discovered that early enough. 53 seconds still on the board here. Time for Big to think about where they can go. But I wonder if they've gotten a little bit too tricky in this round. Rez, he nearly lined them all up. Luckily, Krimbo was there to shut it down, and there's another lineup, but syrsoN can't land it on that one either. Brollan through the Molotov. He's going to be able to grab one, but can't survive inside the smoke, and at the end of all the shenanigans, Big get the bomb down. They've got themselves a 1-on-3. NiP, so many missed chances and opportunities.
Yeah.
And it leaves Plopski in a 1 versus 3 to try to stave off match point. It's a best of 1.
Okay, timing might actually work out in his favor here too. This is, I think he's not going to expect a player to reposition around in the temple. tzystyaN's just making sure that that bomb is safeguarded, and Plopski, well, he's just got to save what he's got. Look at that money for NiP. They can rebuy into the next round, but it's made easier by the fact that he can save here, Plopski. He can take an AWP too, that'd be fantastic. The bomb might actually hamper that. No, straight into his hands. So, some last rolls of the dice here for NiP. They need to take this into OT, otherwise they could be playing from the lower bracket.
think that might be where they find themselves. Man, CSN has been so good. T-side and CT side.
He looks ready. He looks ready for everything.
A lot of the time you'll see an AWPA have, you know, one really good half. But to put two together from CSN, really impressive stuff against a team that's not too shabby. Once again, they just look for control of lane early on in the piece. Brollan, he's found his timing. Two will line up. And there you go, Plopski. He helps him out.
It was the double play down B ramp, super aggressive CT play. It nets some 3 quick frags, and just like that, Big had themselves within striking distance of the game.
It's not over yet.
But NiP dig in.
Oh, they're going to have to pull off a bit of magic to still win from here.
Bit of NiP magic, you reckon?
Yeah. Is it even fair to continue to bring that up?
No.
People always do it.
It's about 9 years too old.
Like, mate, go to the retirement home.
Stigmatus, isn't it?
Dinosaur years. Well, tabseN and Krimbo. They're not going to let this one go down without a fight. Still going to try and put in as much work as they possibly can. And it's all still relevant. Money is very bad for NiP at the moment. Guns out of their hands, forcing reinvestment. Could still continue to put that pressure on. tabseN has spotted out Plopski, but syrsoN is there for a couple of frags. Hopefully confidence building frags for syrsoN, because we're going to need to see that AWP really stepping up if there's a world where NiP hopes to make this comeback happen.
Yeah, this still a lot of rounds between now and then. 7 to bring them into that OT. But this is a good reset moment here for NiP. They've got Big on the pistols, but I mean, as we saw in the last game, it doesn't necessarily rule a team out. Faster approach here too. Plopski's being fed.
tabseN's going to try and find a trade with that Tech 9, but no such luck. The util, the layering of the util, just a bit too good. And NiP clean that round up. A vicious round from the CT side.
Yep. Plopski with 4.
It's always scary when a team's on 15, and every time you go into the round, you hear that noise.
Yeah.
You just think, I mean, how long do I have to hear this noise for before we make it to OT or we just lose?
It's a constant reminder of your position in the match.
Exactly. It's hard to get it out of your head, I think, that, yeah, we lose if we just make one mistake.
It's iconic. It's up there with like that, you know, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire soundtrack. You know something's about to go down.
Once again, Big is going to give it a crack.
Oh, perfect.
And once
flash.
again, Brollan. Oh, he lines them all up. tabseN lives on 1 HP.
Dear me.
But NiP, they feel like they've come alive in the last couple of rounds.
They have, and they're playing off the back of each other. These flashes, this layering of utility, just the timing of these steps as well. It's working. This double AWP setup at A as well is yet to be cracked. I don't think Big actually are aware of that fact. So there's a lot of life left here for NiP.
Definitely. But their
Unlike
backs are
tabseN.
against the wall still. You never know. 1 HP wonder. In a pretty interesting spot to get some work done on a rotate, maybe, if the entry into B goes well for CSGO and Krimbo.
Okay. No rotations coming out of NiP. Not yet. So what do Big do in this round? They head towards this A bomb site. They've had some success here before, particularly in some of these late round scenarios, so why not chance their hand? That AWP is in a very forward position from Rez. I think they're actually just going to totally save it out. They have not moved whatsoever. They take 3 guns into the next round. It's a stalemate, Jordan.
tabseN's
something's
still
gonna
very focused. All right. That was fun. Maybe we should do it again sometime. I think NiP would like that.
Same time next week.
Same time next round. Back timeout for Big. So they've literally just had like 40 seconds of doing nothing in a round to chat.
Yep. Chilling. Max chilling.
Now they're going to take another 30 seconds to chat. So something's going to get put together here in this round for Big. They've got to do something, right?
Well, I don't think they've encountered the double AWP of Rez and Esatag either towards A. So if they do opt to go towards A, I don't know if they're going to have the right protocols in place. So they actually could catch them out. But, I mean, the gravity of the situation is Big have match point. So
they've had match point for a while,
yeah,
Jim.
They've got match point. They still have match point. The fact that they've still got match point at this stage is also of concern to Big.
Correct. They would have thought they'd had this one wrapped up neatly and done by now. They haven't. Now I'm starting to feel it maybe for NiP. But that said, that was the exact same thing I was starting to feel for Imperial, and then they instantly lost the next round. So maybe I've cursed them. We'll see. Yeah. NiP, once again, they're going to try and look for control of lanes, and they get it. Brollan very aggressive. Smoke is going to go through and keep 3 of those big members at bay. And remember, Imperial lost to a bit of a half-buy from Furia.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a kiss of death sort of scenario, right?
Starting to see some parallels come through.
Yeah, and they're all waiting on the other side of that door. Look how deep set Big are. I mean, you've got that positioning there from Brollan just peeking out towards the lane. You've got the close positioning there on the B ramp as well with Plopski in tow. Is it going to be on the back of a pop flash out those doors that they try and get something done? They're just trying to push and pull here right now.
Has allowed them to send that extra rotator over toward A, but you've got to be feeling a little bit angsty now. Holding this position for so long and not finding anything. Plopski already drops Brollan. All pressure is on him. He's the only defender right now on B. Trying to buy time for that rotate to come across, but
it's been sold a ruse.
It is a ruse. It's into A that the bomb goes for Big.
This bomb plant should come in unopposed as well because they're just going to continue to sell that fake. So ZTR does find the 2. And so now Big, they will get that bomb plant down, but it is a 4 versus 2. Okay, that's great from Krimbo. Sets the stage.
Just pushes forward, tries to take that aggressive fight, something that they needed to do in the 4-on-2. Bring the numbers back in favor a little bit. He's playing a pretty cheeky angle here as well. Here's those footsteps, knows that they're coming, finds the timing again, and this might be it. NiP, they've worked so hard to get to this point, but they're going to lose a 4-on-2. ZTR needs to clutch it. Krimbo, he's going to be smoked off, but time is of the essence. Onto the bomb, ZTR must go peek out, and Krimbo will win it. A huge round from him. He gets 3 frags, and 16 is on the board for Big. It took a little while, but they've gotten it done, and NiP gets sent packing down into the lower bracket.